Hey, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Ivy, and today I'm going to be doing my October wrap-up and November TBR. First of all, happy Halloween and happy All Saints Day, because that is hopefully the day that this video will be uploaded. If not, I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to be discussing all of the movies that I watched in October as well as the books that I read, and then we're going to talk about the books that I want to read in November. So let's start with movies. The first thing I watched was Enola Holmes, which is Millie Bobby Brown's new movie on Netflix. The premise of this is that Millie plays Enola, who is Sherlock's younger sister, and she has to find her missing mom and solve a mystery to do that. I would just like to say, first of all, that I was asleep for most of this movie, so I really want to watch it again to see if my opinion of it will change. I went into this movie with the highest of high expectations because I love Millie, the trailers looked absolutely fantastic, and I was disappointed. I did enjoy it quite a bit. It just wasn't quite as just earth-shatteringly amazing as I was expecting and hoping it to be. I had a lot of fun and Millie did a great job in her role. It just was underwhelming. For me, it was the mystery. It was just kind of confusing and didn't make much sense to me. I don't know if it's because I'm stupid or I was asleep for half of it or what, but I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars and I did not cry. Next, I watched Halloween, the original, not the new remake one, but I do want to see that one. So this takes place on Halloween night, shockingly, I know, and a man named Michael, who killed his sister years ago, has escaped from the institution that he was being held at. You can probably guess where we go from there. I'm not going to tell you anymore. I did not realize that the iconic music came from this movie. When the opening credits started playing and that music came on, I shrieked. I was so excited. This one was just so slow in the beginning, and I understand that they were doing their best to, build up the suspense and that feeling of dread, and it did work. They just could have done it in half the time. The same thing kept happening over and over again. We get it, she's being stalked. It's really, we don't need to see this for the entire first half of the movie. That being said, the second half, or maybe third, was fantastic and just so crazy and, gory and yeah. I wouldn't really call this movie scary. It's probably because I've seen what special effects now look like, and just watching this movie was ha 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 ha, that's so funny. There were definitely some creepy moments for sure, and I appreciate it for what it was. I will never be able to look at sheet ghosts the same way again, and that trend that's been on the internet of people putting the ghost, the sheet, over their head and then putting the glasses on it, I don't know if people realize that that is in this movie, but now I'm just so scared by it. Anyway, I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars and I did not cry. Next we have Friday the 13th, which again, the original, not the remake. There's gotta be a remake, right? So this takes place at a summer camp, which right off the bat is just awesome. I love me a summer camp. It's about the counselors who are getting the camp ready for the kids who are gonna come eventually, but spoiler alert, things kind of go downhill. This was another one that was creepy and gory, but it wasn't really scary to me. Definitely not as scary as Halloween. It was still very entertaining and just fun. Why is this fun to me? I don't know. The music in this one was fine, it was good, it got the vibes across, but not nearly as well as the Halloween music. I feel like you can't really match that, so we were just going along and the movie was exactly what I expected it to be until it wasn't, and there was a certain thing that happened that just completely caught me off guard. And then, beyond that, another thing happened that caught me off guard, and that thing involved a jump scare which made me scream, and I scared my brother. That part was fun. If you can make me scream, then obviously I'm enjoying myself. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I don't think I cried. No, I did not. Alright, the last movie that I watched was The Cabin in the Woods. I don't even know where to begin. This is about a group of college friends who are going to a remote cabin in the woods. Going into this movie, I really thought, I was like, okay, I know what I'm getting myself into. I don't even know what to say, but it was not what I was expecting. It was so much more than that, and it was so good. Like, probably my favorite movie of the month, for sure. It's really a really hard movie to describe. I feel like you just need to watch it for yourself. It's so 100,000% worth the watch, I promise. If you are into horror movies at all, you need to watch this movie. It is so self-aware and so meta and just like kind of mind-bending, and it really, really makes you think, but it's also still scary and creepy, and I don't even know how they did it. Like, they literally did the most in this movie, and I'm still stunned. Like, I want to watch it again. It's so funny. Like, so funny. Perfect. The humor is perfect. The casting was perfect. Chris Hemsworth is an icon. I honestly only watched this movie for him, and he wasn't, like, he was great, obviously, but, like, I enjoyed it for so much more than just him. This, out of the 3 horror movies, was the one that I got attached to the characters in. Like, all of a sudden, I was like, wait a minute. These people can't die. And I don't even know why, because I don't know anything about them, yet somehow I really didn't want them to die. If you saw that movie Escape Room that came out like a few years ago maybe, this is like what Escape Room was trying to be, but like 50 times better. I obviously gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. I did not cry, but it was so good, and I have a feeling that I'm gonna rewatch this movie like every spooky season. Hi, hello. So future Ivy here because I actually watched another video after I recorded yesterday, so let's talk about it. It was the Autopsy of Jane Doe. So this is about like a father-son autopsy team. I don't know what to call them, but basically they get this really strange body that's unidentified, and they start doing the autopsy on her, and then some weird and freaky stuff starts happening. I don't like the kind of more gory, like, medical stuff. Like, that's just not for me. I was feeling a bit nauseous, so that kind of took my enjoyment of it down a notch, and I know that I should have gone in knowing this, but it wasn't, like, I didn't choose this movie. Definitely, like, the first half was kind of, like, bleh for me, but then when we moved into, like, more creepy stuff, instead of just, like, you know, blood and grossness, then I really enjoyed it. It did do a really good job building the suspense, like, the whole time. It was just really weird in, like, the best way possible, and yeah, it was just really unsettling to watch. It's just a really great concept, really unique in my opinion, and I've never watched a movie that was set in a morgue the entire time, so that was fun. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and it did not make me cry. Alright, back to the past, Ivy. Okay, let's talk about books. First of all, we have Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. If you have not been paying attention, I've been basically just reading Shadowhunters all year. This is book 1 in the Last Hours trilogy, which is the sequel to the Infernal Devices trilogy, and it takes place in the early 1900s. We're following Cordelia Carstairs, who is a Shadowhunter, and she is moving to London with her mom and brother. In London, she's going to be reunited with her childhood friends, Lucy and Will, not Will. Oh my gosh! Lucy and James Herondale, who are the kids of Tessa and Will. I hope you can hear my mom singing in the background. That's gonna be so funny. I actually made an entire video about this, so if you for some reason want to hear me just rant, not rant because I really enjoyed it, but ramble about this book for like 20 minutes, I'll have it linked down there. Overall, I've really enjoyed this one. I am 1000% really attached to the characters, and I am so beyond excited for Chain of Iron, I think that's what it's called, that comes out on March 2nd. But I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars, and yes, I did cry. I almost said I did not, but no, I definitely did. The second thing that I read was actually not Shadowhunters. It's a miracle. Jackaby by William Ritter. This book, on the front cover, had a blurb, and it said it's a cross between Sherlock and Buffy. And if you know me at all, you know that that's literally, like, perfect. So this follows Abigail Rook, and she is arriving in New Fiddleham, which is a New England town. I can't remember what year it is. Probably like late-ish 1800s, I want to say. So she gets to this new town. She kind of sort of ran away from home. She finds herself being employed by a detective named Jackaby. Now, Jackaby is kind of special because he's the only one in the world, I believe, who can see the supernatural things that happen. So he uses that really cool ability to be a detective and help people and solve crimes and stuff. This was so much fun. I feel like I've said that about every single thing in this video, but you know, just a lot of things were fun. It was such a whirlwind, such an adventure. I'm so glad that I read it. Really loved getting to know Jackaby and Abigail, but especially Jackaby because he's amazing and I'm in love with him. I need to let my dog out. Hold on. The writing was so good. I don't know what it is about this author, but I thought his writing style was fantastic. It's just really accessible and just straightforward and to the point, which I really appreciate and love. It's also utterly hilarious. I was laughing every other page. The one thing that I didn't like about this one was, unfortunately, the mystery. It was a really fun adventure and I had such a great time, but the mystery was just so underwhelming and dull. I definitely figured it out immediately, and I know I'm proud of myself and I was excited that I had figured it out, but at the same time it's if I can predict from the time when I meet the person who did it that that's the person who did it, then you need to I don't know. Hopefully in the next books in the series, the mysteries will get better. I'm going to read them all because I had so much fun, and hopefully there will be improvement there, but we shall see. I gave Jackaby 4 out of 5 stars, and I did not cry. So lastly, I'm just gonna quickly talk about the books that I want to read in November. First of all, we have The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. Shockingly, this is another Shadowhunters book. This is the first one in the Eldest Curses trilogy, which is the one that follows Magnus and Alec. This one is about their trip to Paris, which I think takes place between the first 3 Mortal Instruments books and the last 3. I could be wrong, but I think that's when it is. Then I want to read The Lost Book of the White, which is book 2 in that series. I do not know when or where it takes place, but I will find out. And then lastly, I'm hoping to also get to The Bane Chronicles by Cassie Clare, Sarah Rees, Brennan, and Maureen Johnson. This one is just a collection of short stories about the magnificent Magnus Bane. I'm so beyond excited to read that one. I mean, I'm excited for every Shadowhunters book ever, but I'm especially excited to read all about Magnus because, let's be honest, he's the best. And that is all that I'm going to say that I want to read, because 3 books, even if they're on the shorter side this month, is still a lot for me to handle. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope you had a great Halloween, and I will see you next time with another video. Bye.